Good afternoon, everyone. Rusty Blackwood here, and I welcome you to my loft on this April 21st, 2023. And I'm here to do a quick update for Return to Autumn Part 2. The novel is going to be coming out the end of this month. I believe I'm going to be releasing it on April 29th. And so I'm here to catch you up on what's happening. I am getting very, very excited, to say the least. And as I mentioned in my last video, it's kind of bittersweet for me as well because I have been with the characters of Return to Autumn, beginning with the Perils of Autumn and then continuing in Return to Autumn Part 1 and concluding in Return to Autumn Part 2. And I have been, as I say, with these characters since 2017 when I first decided to bring them to life. I had been thinking about the novel that I was going to do following Willow's Walk. And I released Willow's Walk in 2015 and then pulled it back for a little while and republished it, put it back out in 2016. Excuse me, as always, this phlegm is there. And so after Willow's Walk, I was thinking about what I would do, and I had some ideas sort of spinning around in the back of my head about the story that I would like to bring to life. And my love of horses, for one thing, was part of the reason why I decided to write a story that doesn't revolve around horses, but they are a primary part of the story because the story takes place at a very prestigious fictional thoroughbred racing stable in an area in Kentucky outside of Lexington I've dubbed as the Meadows. Very, very secluded, very posh area. And it circles around the different thoroughbred stables that are in the Meadows. And but primarily it revolves around Landon Lawn Stables and Landon Manor, that is owned by Cyril Landon, and a very, very prestigious, applauded English equestrian master. Please excuse the noise from the back. Motorcycle taking off, I think. I don't know. Needless to say, I hate the city. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know. I know hate is a strong word, but using it as a verb here, I don't know of any stronger one to use to explain and describe how I hate, I could say even loathe, the city. I grew up in the country, and where it was quiet and peaceful, and you didn't have this constant uproar and hubbub of noise, one thing or another. And so maybe I got spoiled, I don't know, but I loved it, and I would give anything to be able to return to the country. That would be a dream come true, really and truly it would be. But I don't know whether or not that is ever going to happen. I have my doubts at this time in my life. But as I say, it would be just wonderful. I couldn't think of anything that I would like more than to be able to live the rest of my life out in the country where it's quiet and you can hear yourself think. You don't have, as you just heard, when you're speaking to somebody, whether you're doing a video or not, it's got nothing to do with it. But if you have someone in your house with you and you're speaking with them, and of course when the weather is nice like it is today, you've got your windows open, you've got your doors open to let fresh air in and help to clean the winter air out of the house. And you have to contend with that constant racket. And now mind you, there are some very nice, quiet, secluded areas in the city, primarily out by the lake and back by the base of the escarpment. But where I am, it's a fairly busy part of the city. It's an old part of the city and very busy. I'm on a main bus route, and I have to say, I came here in 1988, and it's a very long time ago. And when we came here, General Motors, which one of their plants at that time, they had 3 plants in St. Catharines, and one of the plants was right at the very end of Carlton Street, the street that I live on. And there was 3 shifts each day, and so the only time it ever quieted down was probably between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And when the midnight shift would get out, and then the early morning shift, the 7 o'clock shift, would be starting, and the noise would begin around 6 o'clock. And it was just constant all day long up until about, well, when the midnight shift would go in. As I say, midnight, from 11 to 7 shift. So I would say around 11:30 to midnight, after the majority of those going to work down there went by and got there, it would quiet down then to quite an extent. And as I say, between 4 and 5 in the morning, it was very, very quiet. And that was your break. So, I guess if you wanted to, you could get up and go and sit on your porch if you wanted to sit out amongst quietness, which I have done, especially on hot nights. And so that was life for years and years and years. And when you would be trying to get on the street, like we have a private driveway here, and trying to get your car out on the street to get into the flow of traffic at that particular time was just almost impossible. And if you were coming, at that time I was working full time out of the house, and coming home after work, I put my turn signal on long before I would get to my driveway, and slowing down, and I would have someone right behind me, and someone behind them, and so on, all the way down the street, trying to get slowed down enough to safely turn into the driveway without having somebody push your ass end up to your roof. And I'm telling you, it was just maddening. And I used to think to myself that surely they can see the turn signal is flashing and you're slowing down, you're going to be turning, and you think that they could back off for 2 bloody minutes to slow down enough to let you make your turn. But no. When their shifts got out down there, they were like a zoo filled with anxious animals that hadn't had freedom forever. And they finally were given freedom. And so, oh, it was just unreal. And of course now General Motors is no longer in St. Catharines. And so that plant that was at the end of the street here, it is slowly being torn down. And I don't know what's going to come there, but it's going to take them. They've been at this now for quite a few years, and they've got a lot of it torn down, but there's still a lot that's there, and they have to clean the ground, because the ground is, I suppose there's a lot of toxins in the ground that has to be cleared away before they can do anything as far as future projects or buildings. I've heard a few different things mentioned that is possible to go there, but that remains to be seen whether that will develop or not. But I can't say that I'm sorry as far as the traffic is concerned. I was sorry to see General Motors go out of St. Catharines, because St. Catharines is primarily a motor city. It was a General Motors city, and since it closed, of course, put a lot of people out of work. It really kicked the economy down like you wouldn't believe, and so in that respect, I was very sorry to see it close. But as far as the traffic is concerned, I wasn't a bit sorry to see that stop or slow down. I mean, we still have traffic all day long here, but nothing like it once was. And so at least now you can get on and off the street in a relatively decent amount of time, and without putting your life in jeopardy to do so. And so, but you know, I like my house. As I say, I've been here since 1988. We bought the house, and it's an old one. It was built in 1928, and it's Art Deco, and I have had a good time over the years designing different things inside, and doing interior decoration and things like that. We did a lot of stuff that is not visible, like new wiring, copper pipes everywhere, and stuff like that you don't see. But the stuff you do see, I take great pride in what I've managed to put my personality and my creativity to work here, and come up with a very, very comfortable home. And I just wish it wasn't on this busy street. If I had my way, I would have it moved to a very private, secluded area out in the country that had lots of mature trees and lots of room for garden and flower beds. And when my little great-grandsons visit me, they could just run for acres. But as I say, that's a dream that I can have, that I really don't think will ever materialize. But I think it would just be fantastic if it did. And so, getting back to Return to Autumn Part 2, I've started the publishing process. I got my PDF back yesterday morning from Dawn with the last corrections in place, and I just went through it just to check it out, and everything was fine, everything was good to go. So I replied to him and told him, great, I'm fine with it. Now it can, do your thing. And so I went yesterday to KDP on Amazon, and I started the basic publishing program to publish Return to Autumn Part 2, and got the preliminaries in place. And of course, at the time, I couldn't upload the interior or the cover, because the interior hadn't come back to me just at that time as yet. And so now I can go ahead and upload the interior, but I want to see the back cover of the book before I go ahead to upload that, because with Return to Autumn Part 1, we did run into some problems with the sizing, trying to get, it's the template is laid out as though the book is spread eagled in front of you on a table, and you see the front and you see the back and you see the spine and the bleed of color, anything that goes from front cover to back cover, and you see all of this. Well, this has got to fit their particular dimensions to be accepted. And Dawn and I were having an awful time with Return to Autumn Part 1, trying to get the finished cover to their specifications. And so I hope that we don't have the same problem with Return to Autumn 2 here, because it's all time consuming, because I have to let Don know they didn't accept it. Here's the screenshot so you can see what they have to say. And then he does his thing about trying to size it to what they are specifying. And as I say, all of that takes time. And not to mention, it adds to the ongoing, stress of getting a book out. And so, but because we went through that the last time, I'm sure Don remembered that when he did the dimensions for the cover. I have the front cover of the book, but I have as yet to see the back cover. I have the synopsis, of course, which I've already put into the information area on the project, but I want to see the back cover to make sure to see for myself how it looks. And then once that's done, I can go ahead then and upload that. And when just a couple of days before the 29th, I will go ahead and publish it, because it takes time before it is live for people to where it is actually available for everybody. And this is the paperback. From here we go to then the hardback and the Kindle. So I mean, the Kindle and the hardback won't be available at the same time the paperback is released. So hopefully you keep that in mind. If you're planning to order it, it is just going to be the paperback first, and then the other two will follow as quickly as Dawn and I can arrange it and get all that taken care of. And so, very, very exciting time indeed for me, the author, and for anybody that is waiting for this book to come out. And so now we've got a barking dog. I could go down and shut the door, I suppose. In fact, I think I will. Just hang tight. I'll be right back. There. I think it stops it, kind of muffles it down a little bit. You can still hear it, but I don't think it's as bad as it was. And so it is what it is, and I just cope with it, bear with it, and push on. That's all you can do. And so it would be much worse if I was doing this video outside, because then you would get the full blast of the barking. And the people directly behind me here, they've had a dog now for about the last 4 years, and very noisy dog. When it's outside, it just wants to bark. And the house kitty corner next to it, behind, like kitty corner for me, it has a dog that's been there forever, and just constant when it's outside, barks, just constantly barks. And of course I've had problems with that, and they're much better than they used to be. At least they don't just leave the dog out there to bark constantly. They come out now and tend to the dog and take it back into the house. In a way, I feel sorry for the dog, because, I mean, you get a really nice day. Naturally, dogs would love to be out in the backyard laying under the trees and things like that. But this dog, just, I don't know whether it's, I suppose dogs can have psychiatric problems, and if that's the case, then this dog definitely has that. And this one directly behind, it's a fairly young dog. It's still, I wouldn't say puppy now, but not much over being totally grown, and the puppy years. And it, when it's out there, it lives in the house most of the time. And so when it's outside, it doesn't matter how, if it's nice and warm, it still wants to be in the house. And it barks, stands at the back door and barks and barks and barks until finally they come and let it in. And now, if that's not enough, now they've got a second dog. I don't know, this one doesn't seem to be noisy, at least not that I have noticed as yet anyway. It's the older dog that still is making the ruckus when it's outside. And so anyway, you could about imagine when I'm trying to work, when I'm writing, and this is going on. It is just, when the air conditioner is going, it's not so bad because it filters. You don't hear that noise because of the air conditioner, and so I can tune out what's happening then, because it's not so prevalent. And but it's not warm enough up here to have to warrant having the air conditioner on, and so here we are. Here I am today with my update for y'all, and with barking dogs and roaring motors and everything that goes along with it. So welcome to the life of Rusty Blackwood. It's not all stars and candy and flowers. But I'm sure, I'm not the only one that has to cope with stuff like that. But still, I guess I can kind of feel sorry for myself a little bit because I have to. And so, but I love to write. Doesn't matter what the heck is going on. It doesn't. I love to write. It's one of my greatest passions in life. And so I persevere the best I can and hope that you enjoy my efforts. And so I think I'm going to come to an end for this video today because I really haven't got that much more news or update to talk about. But we're moving ever closer all the time. And as I say, as exciting as it is, and having that feeling of accomplishment that another project is completed and available, it's still very bittersweet for me, especially with this story, because of my love and admiration for Mr. Cyril Landon. And you all know, I won't go into that again because you all know how I feel about this character. And so, but it doesn't matter. He's in here as well as in here, but he's in my head. That's where he came from, and that's where he dwells. He will always be there as long as I can as long as I can think and I can clarify what it is I'm thinking about, he will be there, and I can enjoy him, and I can envision all kinds of things that he and I can do. Yes. But that is one of my very favorite. He is my very favorite character that I have created. I've got a few over the years that I've created that I have great affection for. Cullen Malone is one, from Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary, and of course Joy Witchmere. And even Philippe Robillard, as much as of an antagonist as he is in that book. When you get through it to the end, you find out why he's like he is, and in many ways, he is to be pitied. Though that doesn't excuse what he does, and when you read his background and how he came to be the way he is, I think if that was to actually happen to anyone, I think the outcome would be exactly the same as Philippe turned out to be. And so if you all read Passions in Paris, I hope that you do enjoy the journey that you're going to take, because it's going to pull at your heartstrings. And it certainly did mine in writing it. And if you hear growling now, that is the YouTube star George returning here. He's up here in the loft, and here he is. Are you going to get up and say hello to people? Hello, George? No, he's just going to lay down here. So I guess he's not going to appear on camera today. You don't want to come and say hi? Come here. Come on. Come, George. Come on. You're not going to. Just about the time I wouldn't want him up here, he would be up here. But he's not going to come today. The other one is coming up. Her name is Dream. She doesn't spend much time up here because I tend to be a little allergic to her. And so I don't allow her to be up here the same as George. For some reason, I don't seem to have reaction to George in the same way, although if he gets up around my face, I do start to get a reaction, and I get stuffed up, and sometimes, I have to take a Benadryl to help myself. I didn't want to do that before I did the video today, because even they say none drowsy, but it does affect me that way, and I can't be passing out partway through an updating video. So in order to stay, aware, I didn't bother to take one, and so I'm not too bad. I'm okay, but if it gets any worse, I will go in and take one, and then of course if it affects me, then I don't have to be aware for everything the same. I can go and lay down or lay back in the chair or whatever, and let it do its thing. If it's bound to bend, it's going to. And so in another video, I'm going to talk about that brought to mind something that happened to me many, many years ago, and it's something that I think, enough time has gone by that I can talk about it comfortably, and maybe through doing so might help someone that may have experienced the same thing, or something like it, and being able to come to terms with it and cope with knowing what had happened, and at least what you can remember of what had happened, and it might help to bring awareness, as I say, that so when you're in a bar or anything like what I will talk about, it will help you to be aware, and so that you're safe, first and foremost. And so I'm at the 30-minute mark now, so I'm going to say bye-bye for now. I'm going to wish you God's blessings for each of you, and I'll be back soon with another update on Return to Autumn Part 2 and its journey now into the publishing process. And so do enjoy the rest of your afternoon, your morning, your evening, and you take care, and please like this video. Please share it around if you would. Please comment if you would. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Peace out.